Hello, my love. Welcome to another episode of Blisstopia podcast. I am your host, Mercedes Castellani, and I am so excited about this show. This episode today, it's going to be so spicy. We're going to cover many topics. We're going to cover religion, family, gender, sexual orientation, many spicy topics, and also my spicy, unapologetic view on some of those topics. So, before we dive into the show, and we have a lot to cover today, I want to give you guys an update on my life because I've just had a beautiful summer. I've been traveling. I've been first in London with the ladies that attending the She Thrives retreat last March, and we had a beautiful reunion. Everybody was sharing, how much the retreat has had an impact on them. One of the ladies quit smoking. One of the ladies found her dream job in London. One of the ladies decided to go all in on love. And there were many beautiful stories. All of these ladies are growing, are happier than ever, are more aligned than ever before in their lives. And it was just so beautiful to watch all of these powerful, amazing ladies rise together. After that, Fabrice and I, we went to Barcelona. We worked from Barcelona for a couple of days. We were not really in Barcelona, but more in like the outskirts of Barcelona to be like fully by the beach. So that was really nice. And then we went to south of France near Cannes to spend time with his family. And we had kind of 10 days together. It was really beautiful to spend time with all of the children, all of the adults. It was like a lot of people in the house all the time, but we're feeling super good, super relaxed after these beautiful holidays. So while we were on this trip, I've had a lot of time to reflect. And while we were in south of France, I got a very interesting insight, and this is what I'm going to be sharing on the episode today. So, as you know, I have a stable, committed, beautiful relationship with my partner. And of course, we're spending more and more time with his family. We are planning to build a life together. So, this is becoming actually my new family. I have my family back in Argentina, and now I'm starting to have this family also in France. So, of course, as you can imagine, we agree on many things and we disagree on some things. Some of those things are more or less fundamental and important, but in every conversation that we've had, there's always been a lot of respect, and we've talked through things in a very nice and calm, respectful manner. But entering into a new family dynamic that has, its rules and its traditions and its values, it really made me think that there is a very fine balance to be found between belonging to this new family that I deeply appreciate because they're amazing, loving people. So belonging to this new family, but also remaining free and authentic. And while I was in the south of France, I got this insight that said, I spent 33 years breaking free from things, building my own identity. And I want to make sure that I honor that in this process of belonging and being part of a new family. And this topic made me think, oh my God, like I broke free from so many things. I broke free from religion, from culture, from gender roles, from family dynamics, from sexual orientations, from my own identity. I've spent 33 years crafting something, getting rid of many things, adding new things. And I want to share I deeply believe about these things and how we can break free from things that might not be helping us in being the most authentic and the most alive and happy version of ourselves. So we're going to be covering many topics. They are, all of them, very important and deep. Some of these views are going to be controversial, but we're here for authenticity. So let's just have a debate. So, first of all, let's talk about religion and how sometimes we want to break free from religion. So, first of all, what is religion? Religion is a set of beliefs. It's like there is this whole software that someone invented 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, or thousands of years ago. And there's this software that was plugged in inside of us through our families, through our education, in religious institutions. And we got this set of beliefs, this software. In this belief, in this set of beliefs, there are some beliefs that tell us what is a good person, what is a bad person, the traits that a person should have, the values that a person should have, how do we live in society, what our relationship with others should look like, what our relationship with money should look like. And mind you, I'm using the word should in purpose because it's not an it could look like, it's an it should. Your relationship with yourself should be this way. Your relationship with others should be this way. Your relationship with money should be this way because that's going to make you a better person. And therefore, you're going to get some sort of benefit. It could be that you reincarnate. It could be that you go to heaven. It could be that you go to heaven and you get 7 virgins. It really depends on the religion or the belief system that you subscribe to. Now, religion is one of the easiest ways to control people. For example, in one religion in particular, at a certain point in history, there was a shortage of food. And basically, through religion, they decided to tell people in that group, in that community, that they shouldn't be eating a sort of food because there was a shortage of that specific food. And at that time, that rule made sense. There was a shortage of a specific food, so that food was forbidden. You could not eat that thing. Now, here we are, thousands and thousands of years afterwards, and there is no shortage of such food anymore. Yet, people in that religion still believe that that food is wrong, that they should not be eating that thing, that if they eat that thing, they're going to be an awful person, basically. So, in my case, in my own personal story with religion and belief systems, I was born in a Catholic country, specifically in a very Catholic region within that country. My family is Catholic Christian. My school was Catholic Christian, so I received that upbringing. So I did the whole thing that I was supposed to do as a good Christian girl. I had a baptism, I had a communion, I had a confirmation. And then when I was 15 years old or 16 years old, we started studying philosophy in high school. And when we started studying philosophy, I started fully thinking for myself. And I said, this doesn't make any sense to me. This doesn't make any sense. And I started thinking, Greeks believed in all of these gods. And we know or we believe that those gods don't exist. Romans believed in all of these gods. And we believe that those gods don't exist. Egyptians believed in all of these gods, yet we believe that all of those gods don't exist. So, who's telling me, who can confirm to me that the God that I've been taught of in my family, in school, in my country, is the actual God that exists? And I sort of started like really questioning everything, questioning Christianity, questioning this religion. And my own personal story was that I found that Christianity always told me what not to do. You should not lie, you should not do this, you don't do that, especially do not enjoy your sexuality. No, 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 no. There was so many no's and things that I couldn't do. And mind you, I was a good girl. I was trying to follow the rules up until that point. But they never told me, or this religion never told me, or the way and the priests that I came in contact with, they never told me how to be happy, how to find peace, how to be happy, fully alive, fulfilled in this life, not on the next one, not once I'm dead and then I can resuscitate and be fully happy. I want to be happy on this one. I don't know if I'm going to have other lives. We don't know. We don't know if we're going to resuscitate and have another state afterwards. The only certainty that we have is this life right here, right now. I'm alive. And I want to take this life that I have to the fullest. And when I started thinking and believing these things, Christianity didn't help me to be fully happy. Because by telling me what not to do, they were not telling me what to do to actually be happy. So I was, I drifted away from religion for many years, maybe 8 years, 10 years. And then eventually I think my soul needed spirituality. I think deep down there's a deep human need for meaning, for purpose, for peace. And I think I really needed spirituality. But I found that Buddhism was giving me more answers on how to be peaceful, on how to be happy in this lifetime. And what I really liked about Buddhism when I started learning about this back in 2016, it was that Buddhism was treating me like an adult. Christianity was telling me, don't do this, don't do that, really treating me like a child. Whereas Buddhism was, listen, you can do whatever you want. We have been trying to be happy and peaceful for many years. We've tried these things like alcohol and drugs and sex, and it didn't work. We didn't find happiness and peace there. We've tried other things like meditation and yoga and being in the present moment, and we've found happiness and peace there. Now, this is not a religion, so you're not supposed to believe in anything. This is what we've found. Just go out, live your life, try it out for yourself, and see whether you feel happier or not with meditation, yoga, being in the present moment, or if you can be happy with alcohol, drugs, sex, etc. Buddhism was really treating me like an adult. So for myself, it made more sense to choose Buddhism, and that's what I chose. I don't fully restrict myself to Buddhism, but I found that among the religions or even philosophical systems, because Buddhism is not a religion, it's a philosophical system, I found that Buddhism was giving me more answers and it was more appropriate for me and the kind of life that I want for myself. So my invitation here is not to say religion is bad. Get away from religion, break away from religion. What I'm saying is there's a possibility to be critical. We have received a certain upbringing that is linked to a religion or philosophical system or lack of religion or philosophical system. And we can look into the situation with a critical mindset. We can look at it from an objective perspective and decide, is this religion making me fully happy? If the answer is yes, then increase your practice. Do it even more. Be even more engaged with that religion or philosophical system. But if that religion is not making you happy, if that religion is restricting you, if that religion doesn't accept you for who you are, because maybe that religion has something against some of the things that you could be. This can happen, for example, if you're an LGBTQ person and you are also, for example, Catholic, there's going to be a very difficult situation right there because that religion doesn't accept you. That religion doesn't love a person who's LGBTQ. So maybe that's just not the religion for you. Maybe there's other religions or other belief systems that are better for a person, like an LGBTQ person, for example. If you were born and you didn't receive a religious or spiritual upbringing, but you feel like that's lacking in your life, then go study, talk to people, learn, and decide which of these belief systems work better for you. So that's the invitation, to take some distance from the upbringing that you've received and then decide. Sometimes you will take distance and say, no, actually, I really, really love this religion. I really, really love what my parents taught me. I think they were right. I think this is a good way to live a life. And then you will actually fully confirm that that is your religion. And that's beautiful. But you've taken that critical look. And from that critical space, then you decide what is actually the right belief system for you. So that's number one. And it's a big one, religion. Number two, and it's also linked to your upbringing, is culture. The culture of your country. Every country, every culture telling us how to behave, what's accepted, what is not accepted, what success is for that country. How do we define success? How do we understand life? Is it more individualistic? Is it more collective? A culture will tell you which emotions are allowed or not. Some cultures will tell you that joy is extremely accepted and we want to feel joy. And some other countries, they're going to be like, that's too joyful. That's really suspectful. That should not be that happy. Or vice versa, you know? Some countries, some cultures are going to be way more inclined to productivity, and success is going to be linked to productivity. And then in other countries, success is actually having la dolce vita, not doing so many things, enjoying sunsets, enjoying time with your family and friends, having good conversations. That's success in some countries, in some cultures. A culture will tell you if mistakes are a good thing because you learn from them, or if mistakes are a bad thing and you should be ashamed of those because you should never make a mistake. A culture is going to take you whether risk is something that we want, because then we're going to get more rewards. And it's also going to tell you if risk is something that we should be avoiding at all costs. So this is something that, to bring it, into very clear terms, I love working with my clients. When my clients, for example, come with a certain situation, I'm always looking, is there a cultural belief that's hidden here? We're going to cover gender. Is there a gender belief that is hidden here? And I love bringing those things up for my clients so that then they can decide for themselves if that culture, or if that part of that culture, if that cultural belief is the right one for them or not. For example, I had a client, and in her country of origin, sadness is a very natural emotion. This country has been in many wars, there's been a lot of suffering. So suffering is the main emotion. So as she was, working with me, raising her vibration, feeling happier and happier, she started feeling a lot of guilt because she was breaking free from that suffering, and she felt like she was betraying her family, her country, at a very subconscious level. This was not conscious. So suffering and sadness were very familiar for her, but joy wasn't familiar for her. So we had to do a whole work to actually allow her to become familiar with joy, to allow her to understand that it's okay to be okay, that she can be happy, that that's okay. It's okay to be happy. And her family wants to see her happy. So she's not betraying them. She's actually showing that there's another possibility. So, in that sense, when she looked into that cultural emotion that was, offered to her, her country, her culture offered suffering and sadness as the main emotion. And she was like, no, I want joy and happiness and bliss as my main emotions. So she had to break free from that cultural belief and those cultural emotions. And we could expand way further on this. But the invitation here is to look at your own culture, look at your own country from a critical perspective. And I think here traveling really helps. Living in other countries really help. Talking to people from different countries really help, because that's going to expand your mind on what's possible. And then again, from this critical perspective, you can say, okay, this bit about my culture, I really enjoy it and I'm going to keep it. And that bit, I don't enjoy it. So I'm going to start acting in a different way. I'm going to start changing my behavior and I'm not going to follow what my culture is offering to me. I don't agree with that. The things that I agree, I will keep them. Things that I don't agree, I will change them, at least for myself and my family and my circle. So the third topic is gender roles. And oh my God, there is a huge work to be done on this one. There's thousands and thousands of years of patriarchy and thousands of years of beliefs that sometimes say that for some people, men can be better, stronger than women. Yep, that's still a thing sometimes. And the work that I do as a coach is so fundamental and so important. So, most of my clients are women. Currently, it's 85% women, 15% men. And I've noticed a common pattern among my clients. Mind you, I have clients from the UK, from the States, from India, from Australia, from Italy, whatever, you name it, Mexico, doesn't matter. There's this common pattern. Many of my clients come and they tell me, listen, there's this situation going on. I don't agree with this, but I think it should be me, the one who's doing this and the other thing, because I'm the mother. And that's in and of itself the whole explanation. Maybe we are, splitting tasks at home in this way. I don't agree. But you know what? I'm the woman, so I should be the one doing it. Or women who come to me and they tell me, look, I have this situation at work. My colleague is a man and he's not willing to do the detailed hard work. I'm supposed to be the one who's doing the detailed hard work. And he just wants to present. He just wants to do the general, pretend that he's my boss and present for both of us, even though I've been the one to do the work and he wants to present. This part is really important because sometimes within gender definitions, there are some expectations, there are some injustices that are out there. And we need to question all of this. We need to question all of this. We need to fight for our rights when we have to fight for our rights as women. And we need to keep on changing. There's many things that still need to evolve in terms of gender. In my case, it's been a very interesting journey, I would say. I consider myself a feminist in the sense that I want men and women to have the same rights, even though we're very different. I want us both to have the same rights. So in this quest, for how do I want to be a woman in this world, I went into a version of me that was like super independent. I don't need a man. I can do it all on my own. I'm going to make my own money. I'm going to do this and that and that. And I certainly do not need a man. Well, that didn't end up very well for me because I was feeling very lonely. I wasn't really attracting many men into my life by portraying myself in that way. And I think I felt really burned out because the whole burden was on my shoulders always. So I really looked into gender expectations and I decided for myself that yes, I can do many things and yes, I will do many things. And yes, I am super powerful. But at the same time, I really want to be pampered and cherished and loved and protected by a man. So I am still the powerful woman that can do it all. I just don't want to do it all. I want to share some of that with a man, and I want that man to pamper me and cherish me and protect me because it feels good for me in my body. And I completely understand if other women think in different ways, and that's amazing. So the invitation here is to again look into all the gender expectations and unwritten, rules that are still there. Question them all and then decide for yourself which rules do you like and which rules you don't like. So you decide for yourself. For example, not really good at driving, and I love to have my partner driving me. It just feels good. It feels good to have someone that's taking me places, in his BMW. It just feels good. So I'm keeping that one, but I'm still creating an empire, doing many things, and I will very soon be making more money than my partner, probably. So again, you get to decide for yourself. Look into everything with very critical perspective and decide for yourself. Now, if we move to number 4, which is family. Now, this can be a tricky one because it really depends on your personal story, on your family story. And this one, it's going to be a mild one for some people, but it could also be a very complicated one for some people, depending on your family story. Some families will bring certain dynamics, certain rules, certain notions of who has power over who, certain expectations, certain roles to be fulfilled. So again, the invitation here is to heal if you need to heal, because some situations are extremely hard in this regard, to heal dynamics that could have hurt you, and then to decide for yourself which dynamics, which expectations, which roles do you want to have in your own family. That family could be just you. That family could be you and your pets. That family could be you and your partner, your partners. That family could be you and children. That family could be you, a partner, and children. It doesn't matter. You can look into family dynamics and expectations, be critical about those, heal some of those, and choose for yourself what you want to continue, what you want to continue to implement in your life, and what you want to change. So again, and this one's really deep, sometimes we need to heal, be critical, and decide for ourselves. Now, the 5th variable is sexual orientation. And yes, we can also question sexual orientations, preferences. Who cares? Like, we live in a very open-minded world. Now everybody's allowed to do what makes them fully happy as long as they respect other people. They can do whatever they want. So in my case, and this is a very vulnerable share that I haven't shared up until now, but I want to share because as I was thinking of all of the things that I broke free from, I thought that if I didn't speak about this episode wouldn't be authentic. So I will speak about it. So in my case, I did question my sexual orientation, and I did question the heterosexual label at some point. So in my 20s, I had the chance to really explore my life, my sexuality. I've lived amazing things, amazing experiences, and I'm deeply, deeply grateful for all of those experiences and all of that growth. Now, in my 20s, I had experiences with women. Part of that, sense of experimentation and discovery, I started discovering things. I ended up having a very important relationship with a woman at some point. And in that relationship, I really had to deconstruct myself. I really had to deconstruct some labels that were not allowing me to be fully myself. I was bigger than the heterosexual label allowed me to be. It didn't apply to me. So I wanted to find a label. We don't always need to label, but I think I wanted to find a label for myself because I wanted to understand who I was. And I realized in my 20s that having the capacity to be attracted and to fall in love with men and with women, the heterosexual label wasn't for me. It was too small, too restrictive, only to men. And I remember I used to make fun and laugh. And I was like, society, imagine there's like a quadrant, with 4 spaces. And I was like, society wants me to focus here, meaning attractive guys and unattractive guys. But I want to focus here, attractive guys and attractive girls. And basically, that's what I decided to do because that's what made me happy. That's what was authentic for me. And that's also what my body and my heart were resonating with. It just happened for me that I discovered in my 20s that I have the capacity to not only be attracted and fall in love with man, but that I also could be attracted and fall in love with women. And I had amazing experiences. I fell in love with the women. I had, just so much growth in that sexual aspect of my life. And I decided that the label that was more appropriate for me, that reflected better who I am and my capacities to fall in love and to be attracted with, was bisexual. So I decided to define myself as bisexual in my 20s. And I still define myself as a bisexual. Now, some of you might be shocked because you're like, yeah, but you're with a guy and you seem to have a pretty quote unquote normal life. And yes, I love a man right now. And I am deeply committed to a man right now that I really love and that I want to build my life with. But that doesn't change the fact that I have the capacity to be attracted and to fall in love with both men and women. And that is who I am. Now, I've decided to express that love and to leave that attraction with a man. But that doesn't change the fact that I am bisexual and I will always be bisexual, regardless of the partner that I choose. So that was a huge one for me. And I broke free from so many things. It wasn't easy. There was a lot of suffering during those years. But I broke free from many things. And I'm really happy and proud of myself for that. And then the last one, and probably one of the deepest ones, the deepest things that you could deconstruct is your identity. So your identity are the labels that you put on yourself. I am this. I am not this. That's you building an identity for yourself. So some labels can be empowering. But some labels can limit you and can be restricting your possibilities in life. So, to give you some concrete examples, I used to say, maybe up until 2 years ago, I used to say, I'm a procrastinator. I procrastinate things. I'm a Libra and I think more than I actually do. I analyze more than I actually do. And I built this identity around procrastination. Mind you, I would still do everything. I would still achieve the things that I wanted to achieve, but I would procrastinate a lot in the process. And I didn't feel good about it. But I put that identity on myself. I put that label on myself. I procrastinate. And it turned out that it's not that I was procrastinating. What was happening was that I wasn't motivated to be doing the work that I was doing anymore. And that's why I was procrastinating, because I didn't want it to do that thing in the first place. Now, guess what happened when I quit my corporate job? I built my own business and I magically stopped procrastinating. Now I'm like the fastest person ever to respond to emails from my clients, to messages from my clients, because I want to see things moving forward. I want to serve. I want to be there for my clients. And I'm not procrastinating anymore. So I absolutely cleared that label that I had put on myself. And I absolutely do not procrastinate. And I don't consider myself a procrastinator anymore. Now, the second label that I'm breaking free from, and this is a present one, is perfectionism. Perfectionism sometimes in society can be seen as a badge of honor, that it's probably linked to the fact that a person works very well, that they pay attention to details. But I think for me, behind perfectionism was and still is this deep desire to be loved. As a child, I understood, or I came to the conclusion, and this was an interpretation of facts, but I created a story that said, if I'm perfect, I will be loved. And it was a conditional love. If I'm not perfect, I won't be loved. So I did everything that I could during my studies, during my childhood, my teenage years, my 20s. I did everything that I could to be perfect, to do everything that I could, the highest level, because then I would be loved by my parents, by my father, especially. This has been with me during 33 years of my life. In my studies, I was always the best student. I was actually the best student of the whole business promotion. We were like 200 people. Well, I was the one that got the best grades of 200 people. And working in France didn't really help in this sense, meaning that I became even more perfectionistic by working in France, because in France there's a culture that is really afraid of failure. It's really afraid of errors. So you are trained to avoid mistakes at all costs, even if you need to check things 1,000 times to be absolutely sure that everything is perfect. Everything needs to be perfect. Otherwise, don't even bother to do it. So I already had these tendencies, and then working in French environments made it even sort of worse for me. To be completely transparent with you, in my last corporate job, I wanted everything to be perfect when it came to marketing. Every visual, every text, every website, every packaging, everything needed to be perfect, 100% perfect, no room for mistakes. And I think deep down behind this perfectionism, which created really nice results, by the way, but behind that, I think there was need to avoid feeling or the sensation that my job wasn't enough. My results weren't enough. And that deep down, maybe I thought that I wasn't good enough. So I was trying to avoid those feelings of my work not being enough and myself not being enough by trying to make everything absolutely perfect. Now, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, I am, by the nature of my business, to let go of this label. Because when you are starting a business, you can't expect things to be perfect. My company is not 100 years old or more. And therefore, we have processes in place. And my company it's still a baby. It's still a baby. It's going to be huge, but it's still a baby right now. Perfectionism is not suitable for the beginnings of the business. It's not suitable for those early stages in which we're supposed to be testing and changing and pivoting and learning and making things better and better and better. It's just not suitable for the early stages of a business. That's one thing. The second thing is that perfectionism makes me really, really slow because I want the post to be perfect and the email to be perfect and everything to be perfect. And therefore, it takes me way more time to do it. If I would just do it once, check it, boom, send, it would be much easier. But if I have a thing, I make it better, then I make it slightly better, then I make it even better, and I'm checking things many times, it's just very, very slow. Very slow. I could be doing way more things with that time. And then the other issue that I found is that it takes away some of the authenticity. Sometimes if I have a message that I just want to say and it wants to come out, if I try to correct it and make it perfect, it's going to be diluted. It's going to be vanilla. It's going to be boring even. So this is the work that I am doing. This is the label that I still want to get rid of. Because this part of my identity that allowed me to, succeed in my studies, succeed in my corporate career, become a marketing director in my early 30s. Normally that role, you have it in your 40s. I got it in my early 30s. So that characteristic, that identity that allowed me to, succeed in studies, succeed in a corporate job, in a corporate career, it's not the characteristic that it's going to help me succeed as a business owner. As a business owner, I need to be adaptable. I need to be willing to take risks, to make mistakes and correct as soon as possible and learn from that mistake. And it's not perfectionism that it's going to allow me to develop a business the way I want to develop it and to grow at the level that I intend to grow. So perfectionism, it feels safe. It makes me feel safe, makes me feel loved, but I'm still learning to feel safe and to feel loved regardless of what I do and if it's perfect or not. So this is a very deep topic, and I am doing the work in regards of this, but this is a label that is going to come out of my identity very soon. It's still there, it's still clinging there, but its days are basically counted. But it's also to give you a concrete example of something that I am being critical about, and I decide that this label, this identity, is no longer suited for the life that I've decided for myself, which is a life as a business owner. So we've had a really deep, juicy episode, extremely deep, extremely juicy, could be controversial, but we are here for authenticity. So we've covered how to be critical and break free from religion, break free from culture, break free from gender roles, break free from family dynamics, break free from sexual orientations, break free from your own self-created identity so that you can be fully happy, fulfilled, and so that you can be fully yourself without all of those restrictions. The way I see it is that we are like a huge raw diamond. Imagine like the whole thing, kind of like the rock, the crystal rock. And then we get to decide which bits of that rock we are going to cut away completely, which bits of that rock we're going to polish until we are fully satisfied with our creation, meaning that we're fully satisfied with ourselves and with our lives, with the reflection that that diamond can create, which is your life, your reality. So you decide what you keep, because this is so good. I'm definitely keeping this. This makes me happy. This makes me me. I'm definitely keeping this. You decide the bits that you cut away and you throw to the bin and never look back. And you decide the bits that this looks good, but if I could just polish it, a little bit, then it would be really nice. Now, this diamond doesn't need to be perfect. This is not a game of perfection. We're never perfect. We're human. And that's the beauty of it. So your diamond doesn't need to be perfect, but it needs to be a diamond that you deeply love and that you're deeply proud of. That's when you know that your diamond is fully done and fully crafted. Now, if you've really enjoyed this episode, and as I've said, we've covered deep topics, and you know that I'm all about deep transformation. So these are some of the topics that we cover in my coaching sessions. Sometimes it's religion, sometimes gender could come up, sometimes culture could come up, sometimes sexual orientation could come up. So if you want to peel away some of these layers to continue to polish your diamond and make sure that you're fully in love with that diamond, then we can work together. We can peel away some of those layers. We can analyze them in a critical way together so that you decide which bits you want to keep, which bits you want to get rid of, which new bits you need from other diamonds that you want to maybe, glue with your own diamond. So if you want to do this kind of work, which is deep work, to transform your identity, to get to know yourself at the deepest possible level, get rid of layers that might be making you suffer or annoying you or just restricting you as you want to achieve something in life or bring a dream into your reality, then all you need to do is book a discovery call. The discovery call is free. The link is in the show notes. You book a discovery call. We will talk for 45 minutes about your situation, what you want to work on, which layers are, knowing you and you want to change them. And we will be then, if it's a fit, working together for 4 months of a full, long-lasting transformation, which is the only type of transformation that I'm interested in for you. So I have some spots that are open to start in the month of August. Book your discovery call so that we can meet, we can discuss. I would love to support you on your journey. I will see you on the next episode. And in the meantime, in Blisstopia we trust.